President Obama pushing his green agenda in last week's inaugural address, saying climate change will be a big priority in his second term.
We will respond to the threat of climate change, knowing that the failure to do so would betray our children and future generations.
Democratic lawmakers now telling President Obama to push forward with his green agenda through executive action, which, as you know, means bypassing Congress altogether. But my next guest says President Obama's green energy bubble has already burst. Robert Bryce is a senior fellow for the Manhattan Institute. Robert, it's always great to have you on the show. So listen to this. This just drives me crazy, and I'm so glad you're here.
Sure.
So Congressman Henry Waxman, Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, they're asking for the White House to put these rules in place to prevent climate change. That's what they say. They want to accelerate federal investments in green energy, and they want to lower emissions of gases by 17% by 2020. I mean, are you crazy? I think this is the nuttiest thing I've ever heard. What do you think?
Well, what worries me about that letter, Jerry, is the idea that we can do this by executive action, that the president alone is the one with a stroke of the pen that's going to impose these kinds of policies. But second, I think and perhaps more importantly here, the U.S. is already leading the world. These aren't my claims, not my numbers. The International Energy Agency last year said the U.S. is already leading the world in reducing CO2 emissions. It's not because of some government fiat, not because of government programs, but rather because of the shale revolution and natural gas displacing coal.
Shouldn't Waxman and White House go over to China and talk to them? Because these are the real culprits when it comes to climate change. If there is climate change, greenhouse gas emissions, they rank at the top of the list every single year.
Sure. And that's the remarkable part about what's happening now, Jerry, and one reason why I'm so skeptical on the issue of CO2 emissions reductions and efforts, whether it's Kyoto or Copenhagen, Bonn, Durban, any of the IPCC meetings or rather the UN meetings that have happened in the last few years. Look at the growth in the coal market. The IEA just in fact last month said that by 2017, within 5 years, the global coal market will increase by as much as the current consumption of Russia and the United States combined. Coal consumption here is falling and falling dramatically, but globally, because so many countries are desperate for more electricity, they're burning coal because it's cheap, abundant, and available.
And these guys want to spend more money on, green investments. What, you didn't hear about Fisker, you didn't hear about Solyndra, you didn't hear about A123. How many companies did we fund with our taxpayer dollars that ended up going bust? And now news that Fisker's trying to find a buyer, and they can't. You know why? Everybody knows it's a lousy investment.
Well, the Fisker story is one that is particularly instructive, and it's yet another chapter, unfortunately, in the failure of the electric car, a century of failure of the electric cars, a century of tailgating failure. Here's a car or a car company, Fisker Automotive, got a loan of over $192 million so far from the U.S. government so that they could build a hybrid electric sports car that costs $100,000. I mean, this is not Jerry, this is not a car for the masses.
No.
And here's the next part. Yes. They're betting their future now on a new model they call the Atlantic. It's going to cost $50,000. A brand new Jerry, maybe you already have one. A new BMW 5 Series costs $57,000.
So what are you going to buy?
This is a car for the Beamer and Benz crowd.
Exactly. It's crazy. And I can't believe my taxpayer dollars go to this kind of thing. Here's my theory on this, and tell me if you agree. The federal government, via President Obama, has created a bubble in green energy. There's a lot of money that went to it, even in the VC community, because they knew the federal government was getting involved. And when you know there are tax dollars behind something, you're more likely to invest. Now those VC dollars are drying up, and we're starting to see everybody take 5 steps back. Has the bubble burst?
Well, I think we're seeing the bubble deflation now. Look at First Solar, a solar cells company. In mid-2009, just looked it up, their share price was over $200. Today, it closed at less than $30. But this is indicative, and I can't blame all of this on the Obama administration. Certainly, they deserve a lot of the blame. But there was a lot of belief in Silicon Valley that they were going to show how to run the energy business.
But wasn't a lot of that based on the fact they knew they could get federal dollars for this? I mean, come on. They wanted to ride the coattails, right?
Well, certainly there was some of that, Jerry. But look, and here's one. Let me bring up one part of this that I think is particularly aggravating, and it just chaps my hide. Is look at what happened. Look at what happened in the fiscal cliff bill, the fiscal cliff legislation that passed Congress earlier this month. What did they do? They more sweeteners for the biofuel sector.
Right.
The biofuel scam has been ongoing for years, and they gave more subsidies to the cellulosic ethanol industry. Here's an industry that has never produced any quantity of fuel. It was mandated by Congress, and just last week, the Court of Appeals in Washington, they slapped down the EPA. Let me give you the quote. Because the EPA had been mandating that refiners use over 8 million gallons of cellulosic ethanol, even though just last year they produced 20,000 gallons, 1/400th of the mandate.
Can't do that. That math doesn't work.
It doesn't work. And the EPA said that they. Sorry. Thanks, Jerry.
You know, you are fantastic, and you come back anytime. I love having you on the show.
Happy to.
You know what you're talking
Thanks
about.
a million.
Robert, thank you.
Sure.